Do we have any visitors today? Any visitors? Just give me a wave if we are. Okay? One or no? Okay. Well, again, I hope that you have a wonderful day. It's lovely to see you all. And I pray that the Lord will bless us as we continue our health lectures today. Thank you. We'll have the song service. Shall we pray? Father in heaven, it's a joy once again to be able to come and listen to words of wisdom, counsel to help us live more healthfully and more happily. And we pray that you'll be with Sister Jackie this evening as she continues her lectures, How to Maintain Our Health. We ask that your Spirit will bring those who are on their way safely, and that together we will have a wonderful uplifting occasion. Tune our hearts and our voices as we now sing praises to you. For this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, we're going to stand and we're going to sing our theme song, which is Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. Okay? Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for Lord, prepare me, Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Amen. Please be seated.
Welcome back, everyone. Those who are here this afternoon and those who've been here the past few days and nights. How are you? Are you well? Physically? Mentally? Spiritually? Praise God. That is full health. Welcome to those who've just come. And we pray that others who are coming will reach safely. My name is Jacqueline Brown, and I'm part of a ministry called Medical Missionary Group, along with my husband, my 4 children, and our dear sister Irene from the Netherlands. And we started as missionaries for the NEC, and then later on we became self-supporting ministry. God added the health aspect to our ministry. And we've been doing this now for about 7 years. But for the past 5 years, we've also been actively helping those who are not well to recover their health, or at least to know how to take care of their bodies in order that they may restore and that they may live a more healthy life. Besides that, we do training. I showed you some pictures of some people, a very few number of people whom we have served over the past I mean, the people that are there, served over the past 5 years. So we've taken a person from each year, and that's who you saw. But that's just a tip of the iceberg. And currently, we're fully booked until December, and we're still getting calls every single day, emails, text messages. So currently, we're looking for a place that will afford us more space to be able to do this properly, to be able to have more than one person or one family there. And actually, for the past 3 months, we've been having to double up. And God himself has been matching people. So, the 3 people thus far that have been matched have just been perfect. And they were able to help each other. It's amazing how, 2 people who are both not well, and that in order, as they try to reach out to the other person, they themselves are encouraged. It's very, very beautiful. So I know that's God's doing. So we actually have found somewhere, but now we have to raise the funds to make it a reality. According to God's will, of course, we will go according to his leading. So that's our ministry. We have several websites. One of them is qbiscan.com. And I want to say something about the QBI, which is a small device. You hold a probe, and it just records or measures the activity of your cells. So we've been talking about cells and how we're all made up of cells, and how the building block of each and every one of us are the cells. And that when things first go wrong, they go wrong in the cell. And so we need to feed or take care of our cells. We learned about 5 basic needs of the cell: oxygen, we learned about water, we learned about nutrition, waste elimination, learned about freedom from toxins. And we also made it practical. So how does that impact my life? So we talked about the antiperspirants we put on. Why should we antiperspire? Yesterday we had a look at the 7 channels of elimination, and we discovered that the skin is one of those channels of elimination. So if we're stopping the body from releasing toxins or from sweating, this is not to our benefit. So if you want to deodorize, then we talked this afternoon about many, many alternatives. One called Dr. Organic, one called Salt of the Earth. We talked about lemon and lime, or the rind of the lemon and lime being used. We talked about hygiene. So, all of these things, it's important to make it practical, because sometimes it just seems so complex that, we don't know how it relates to us. The QBI scan does the check, then it tells you, how your heart is doing. It's not a diagnostic, so it will not say you have high blood pressure, but from the ratios that it will bring up, I will see whether the left ventricular ejection power is too high, in which case I will ask you whether you have high blood pressure, because then that would explain. And it might be that you're stressed, but whatever it is, we will get to the cause. That's another thing we've been learning, to ascertain the cause of the problem as opposed to treating symptoms. Because what happens is that we just never get to the end. We're forever just sorting out the symptoms, never getting to the cause. And eventually it leads to more and more sickness. So the QBI scan also picks up deficiencies. That one is pretty accurate, according to what people have told me. Sometimes it brings up things that I ask, and they're like, it picked that up? That was like 20 years ago. It's like, this is just, I put in your details, and it reads the health of your cells. Now, for example, if you have, let's say, if you've had an appendix removed, perhaps it will pick it up in the gastrointestinal area, or it might pick it up in the, there's another ratio, what does it call it? Hold on. It escapes me, but it will pick it up, and then I'll say, okay, what, gynecology, possibly. Sometimes it will say gynecology, but it won't say exactly what's wrong. So then I will have to ask you, Is there something? And then you say, I have an appendix, or I have something removed some time ago, which will explain why those cells in those areas are behaving as they are. We have very limited time on Sunday to do the checks. So I'm just saying that if you are interested, please see Sister Val so that something can be arranged. If there are more than, let's say, 5 people by tomorrow, then perhaps we could consider doing a few of them before Sunday, because we have the food demonstration Sunday, and I imagine that's going to take a long time. And then we have the QBI scans and consultations. I've been asked to let you know what the prices are. The scans by themselves are £40. The scans by themselves are £40. The consultation is £30. You can have a scan on its own, and then I send you the report when I get home, and you can kind of try to decipher it. Or you can have the scan and the consultation with me, or you can have just a consultation. There's no pressure to have the scan done. You can just have a consultation, and then we just ask for a small donation as we are self-supporting. So if you can let Sister Val know if you are interested. We also have a few things there, including shea butter, some books, and some other things, some soap, homemade soap, and so on. So before we get into tonight's presentation, which is a continuation of yesterday. We started yesterday looking at the 8 secrets. It's actually the 8 laws of health. We've been looking at God's plan all week. Been looking at godly trust, open air, daily exercise, sunshine, proper rest, loss of water, always temperate, and nutrition. We've discovered that should we stick to these, we would be well. Sometimes due to life and imbalances in life, we have deficiencies, which we need to address. We have toxicity issues, which we need to address. We have imbalances in our bodies. However, these are all balancing in and of themselves, but together they're powerful ways to prevent and even to recover health. We've seen it so many times, and it never ceases to amaze us. Last night we started God's plan with New Start. So last night we did it the other way around. The reason why we did godly trust first, or why it's God's plan, is that without God, truly we can't do even the things that we should do. You know, Paul says it, he says, "Wretched man that I am, you know, who I know what to do, but I don't do it. That which I know I shouldn't do, that's what I do. Who shall deliver me?" And it's Jesus Christ himself who is always willing to help us in every single situation. So he will help us to drink more water, to be able to breathe properly, to get the right amount of sunlight by going out, to get proper rest. Somebody mentioned this afternoon, "You haven't said much about rest." I said, it is very important. He said, because that's my thing, and I need help. So I'm going to send him something because he can't make it tonight. But proper rest is really, really important. I get in trouble when I talk about proper rest, and I'll talk about it as we continue with the presentation. As I was saying before, we help people to recover, to teach them also about their bodies and how to best take care of it. We also teach. So we teach others to be medical missionaries. And here's a family that we had, it's been maybe 2.5 years ago now, that came to our home, and we did this training with them, and it was a blessed time. And they then went back to their home and started to implement it for themselves. And then once they started implementing it, discovered the blessedness of it and started to share it. And all too quickly, they were doing it themselves. And now they have, since last year, relocated to South Africa, and they're in the process of opening up their own facility to do the medical missionary work as well. Then you have the Victorials who are in Suffolk, who are also doing a similar thing in that they are opening their homes and teaching and speaking in various places about this amazing work. And every single one of us can do this. But first it's about understanding the message, living, and then sharing Then we had the most amazing group of girls last summer who came and did training. They were all at the precipice of very important decisions in their lives, going to uni or not, going to college or not, what to study, whether to stay back, whether to take a year out. But they were all there to do medical missionary work, and they were fantastic. And a lot of them are still pursuing this. Many of them, one of them have taken a year out to go to her mother's country in Zimbabwe to do some medical missionary work in the countryside. Another is very heavily involved in church with outreach in terms of medical missionary work, and so on and so forth. But it was a blessing. And we climbed mountains and cried and laughed, and we were indeed very blessed. Here we are having a blackstrap molasses facial, which we will experience tomorrow. Who would be interested in being smeared on the face with blackstrap molasses? Okay, so think about it and let me know. So we did a lot of activity, which I'm so glad for the activity tomorrow for walking, because we have to mix things up. So when people come and they're training, we don't just sit and study. We have to live what we're studying. It has to become practical. And here is the lady who, again, studied with us in order that she may go back to Malawi to help her family. She had people with diabetes, blood pressure, and she was going back after many years, and she said, I can't go back empty-handed. My mom is sick, my sister is sick, my brother-in-law has diabetes. I need to be armed with something. And she went, and it was a miracle, the news that she brought back. So this is us at this time, and any help, donations that you can give to help sustain this ministry, but also to move forward in securing some place that we can actually not expand. We're not interested so much in getting big. We want it to be adequate. Because the point is that I train you, you practice, and then you reach whoever is closest to you. And then it goes on. That's why it's medical missionary group. It's not just one entity. It's all of us. Imagine if each and every one of us could take somebody, the blessing that it would be to them and to us. So that is us and our ministry. I didn't give you the other websites. Another website is medicalmissionary.org.uk. medicalmissionary.org.uk. There's also life180.org.uk. life180uturn.org.uk. Okay? I think that's enough. Before we continue with God's plan, New Start, 8 Secrets, my children have a song that I think they would like to sing. So if you can come forward, please. Then I will continue after. Thank you.
It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4 verse 4. Who is like unto thee, O Lord among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Who is like unto thee, O Lord? Who is like unto thee? Who is like unto thee? O Lord among the gods. O Lord among the gods. Who is like thee? Who is like thee? Glorious in holiness. Glorious in holiness. Fearful in praises. Fearful in praises. Doing wonders. Doing wonders. Who is like unto thee? Who is like unto thee? O Lord. like unto thee, our Lord.
Okay, can we have another quick word of prayer, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here once again to have a look at your plan for our health. I pray, Lord, that you help us to understand and empower us to go forward and to live that which you give us and to share it. So we thank you for your love and your kindness and your mercy towards us. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so we started yesterday with nutrition, and we discovered that there's so much to eat, but it's not all actually good for us. And actually, a lot of what we eat is hurting us. We discovered that we have imbalanced diets, that we may have the vegetables, we may have the fruit, but it's usually very minimal as opposed to the carbohydrates and the proteins, and sometimes the bad fats. So we discovered that there's so many grains, but we tend to stick to just a very small number. So we have amaranth, and we have quinoa, and we have buckwheat, and we have bulgur wheat, and we have, what else? Millet, and we have barley, and we have rice, and we have oats. But every day, most of us are just having rice, rice, rice. And worse still, white rice. White rice, white rice. We discovered that anything white in terms of food that is too refined, it's just empty calories. It goes in, our blood sugar shoots up, we feel energized, then all too quickly it disappears because there's nothing to hold it. However, whole grains release energy slowly, and then you have the wonderful fiber, which helps to sweep things out. We learned that what goes in must come out. So if you're having 3 meals every day, the next day you ought to see 3 movements. And when you don't and you only see 1, what happened to the other 2? Then you have the problem of constantly eating all day long, which means you don't have a movement at all. Why? Because every time you introduce something new into the stomach, it stops digesting the previous food and it starts digesting the current food, and so it never stops digesting. So you don't see things for 2-3 days. We learned that meat in and of itself is constipating because it has no fiber. It goes into the gastrointestinal system. It does not make an exit till at least 72 hours. We've been very hot in the past few weeks, and we would not leave food out in those temperatures without making sure that they were somehow cooled in the refrigerator or in some kind of cooler. But your body, your stomach is at 37 degrees Celsius. So anything that goes in, if it's there for too long, putrefies and becomes toxic. And our bodies then becomes toxic. So we learned about how our bodies needed to be cleansed in order that we can even absorb nutrients. We learned also that we need a balance. We need to have the raw fibrous fruits and vegetables at separate occasions. So maybe have the fruits in the morning, vegetables for lunch, because the two mixed together creates a battle for the stomach. The stomach has to produce different acids to digest these things. Fruits are very easily digested within 2 hours, most fruits. Bananas take a little longer because they're more dense. But most fruits are mainly water and glucose. So they're broken down very quickly, very easily. However, vegetables have cellulose. They're harder to break down. And so if you combine them at the same meal, it creates a war within. You might find that your digestion is delayed. You might find that there's a lot of reflux, acid. And you'll say, no, don't give me lemon. It'll make my stomach acid. But the idea is that the stomach is supposed to be acid in order that your food will be digested. If your stomach is too alkaline, your food will sit there because it needs to be broken down. Yes? But we did learn about acid alkaline, that our blood pH needs to be alkaline to maintain health. But that our blood is made up of what we eat. So it depends on what we eat, but the body will always try to maintain homeostasis, which is a balance, because it's trying to keep us alive. So it will draw from itself to keep itself going. So if you don't give it what it needs and you eat mostly acidic foods, it will take the alkaline type minerals from itself, like magnesium from the heart and calcium from the bones. Then we age and we get osteoporosis and we get certain brittle bone diseases. All of these are impacted. And it's not something that happens overnight. It's a step-by-step process, but the body constantly is breaking down. So then we said, okay, so what do we eat? And we had loads of ideas, and we're going to discuss some more of those ideas on Sunday as we cook together on Sunday, if you're available. I have a lot to get through this evening, so I'm going to begin immediately. After nutrition, we have exercise. This is the next law of health, exercise. Who exercises regularly? Okay, just a few hands. That is the general consensus. I say if you can't do because of work, because of children, because of other commitments, if you can't do any other exercise, please walk. Walk after every meal to help with digestion and to help the body to circulate, because circulation is so important. So if you can't do any other type of exercise, go for a walk around the block every time you eat or when you have your specified main meals. You say, I'm at work when I eat. Okay, do you have half an hour for your food? Spend 20 minutes eating, use the last 10 minutes to walk and come back. You will be so refreshed. Another thing we've talked about a lot is water, and we're coming to that shortly. But exercise is key. There's a quote, from Sister White that says that most of us don't wear out more than we rust out. I love that quote because it's so in your face. But if you read it and then you read the medical books and it's like, oh, this is so true. We rust out because we don't move and our joints and our bodies become stagnant. So it's really important. Exercise provides greater vitality, extra energy, and longer life. Exercise helps us feel good. It is effective in fighting depression and relieving anxiety and stress. We had a beautiful lady with us recently who was suffering from these things and who the previous year was very close to the brink. And God literally snatched her away. And exercising in the fresh air and getting sunshine, she was just so free. And she went back to her home church, and 2 weeks later, she was giving presentations on health. And she is coming back in September to do training. She has found a purpose and a value for her life. And that is always such a blessing to witness. Exercise increases energy levels. Some people are like, I don't have any energy to exercise. Okay, exercise, and then you get the energy. Yeah? But you're like, that doesn't make sense. Just try it. That's why I trust. Yeah, God says we're made to move. So let's move, and then you'll see the benefits that you feel. It will release endorphins, which are feel-good hormones. And it is just fantastic from head to toe. So it increases energy levels, making us more efficient and productive in all that we do. It helps to reach and maintain a proper weight. It burns calories, builds muscles, and increases the metabolism. So ladies is really, really important. 99.9% of ladies that I've had the privilege to serve have muscle weakness. We have especially upper body strength. Sometimes we stand on this exercise machine and you do your leg raises. And most of the time, it's not the legs that are finding it difficult to rise, but it's the fact that we can't hold our weight up from here. So the upper body is really weak, so we have to start, as well as walking, start lifting things up. You don't have to go in a gym and spend 3 hours. It's right where when you're at home, when you're doing little things, you can be working out. We also have a rebounder, which if for whatever reason you can't get out, you can just stand for 10, 15, 20 minutes and simply bounce. And you don't have to do any acrobatic kind of bouncing. You just do this, and in 10 minutes you feel the muscles at the back of your calves tensing up and working. Yeah? Or if you don't have a rebounder and you're not going to get a rebounder, just doing this or getting a skipping rope is another point. This also helps with your lymphatic system because it helps to drain the lymph nodes as well. So exercise is really important. Exercise decreases the pain and stiffness. I think I made it too short. Of osteoarthritis. Let's see if it works. No, hold on. Sorry about this. Of osteoarthritis and other conditions that causes the what do you call it? What are these? The joints to ache. It just went out of my head. The joints to ache. Sometimes that joint pain is due to dehydration because these joints, there's synovial fluid between your joints, and if they become deficient in dehydrated, they start to rub against each other. They wear out quicker as well. So we're coming to that. It stimulates the immune system. This decreases not only cold and flu infections, but also significantly reduces cancer and mortality rates. Because we learned earlier on about the immune system. The immune system is the defense system of your body. And if it is down, you're open to attack. And anything then comes in and bombards you. And we learned that cancer is due to a defective immune system because we all produce some amount of cancerous cells all the time. But our immune systems are able to detect it and escort it out, especially if we're subsisting on God's plan and some of the laws that God has given us. It strengthens the bones, helping them retain calcium and other minerals, thus aiding in the prevention of osteoporosis. It is so important. We need to build muscle. We need to build bone mass as well, because as we age, we lose it. But it doesn't just come. You have to work on it. Exercise helps protect from heart disease by strengthening the heart, decreasing blood pressure and heart rate, and lowering low-density lipoprotein, which is called bad cholesterol, while raising the good cholesterol, the high-density type. The low-density, what kind of oils are they? Does anybody know? What kind of oils do we call bad cholesterol? I'm sorry? Okay, butter. Anything else? Pardon? Margarine. Anything else? Vegetable oil. What else? Sunflower oil. Why are they called bad cholesterol or bad fats? Because they clog up the arteries over time. They clog up the arteries and produces too higher cholesterol. See, cholesterol is not the problem. It's the kind of cholesterol that you have. Because without cholesterol, your skin cannot convert the sun into vitamin D. So we need some amount of cholesterol. We need some amount of fats. Okay, so what kind of fats can we replace these bad fats with? Does anyone know? Coconut oil, fantastic. Olive oil. What else? Avocado, nuts, seeds, flaxseed oil. seriously important because your body cannot make it. It's an essential fatty acid because you can't make it. And some people say, well, I'll have some fish. That's a good excuse for me to have some salmon. Okay, you can have your salmon, but we've talked about how salmon and fish is not a vegetable, so it's meat, and it has no fiber, and it still stays in your colon for at least 72 hours, so there's a problem there. And then if you're not convinced about that one, we talked about how they're full of poison from the oceans from which they're taken from. Then we talked about how sometimes they catch them, and they have pus or tumors growing on them, and they cut it away and throw it back in with the others, and when it's on the plate, you just don't know. So it's all about choices. So flaxseed oil has fantastic omega-3. Also, walnuts have it, and chia seeds also have it. But flaxseed is top for the amount it does have. Okay, so blood pressure readings reduce. You know, it's interesting how it happens, but most people, when they come, we do a 2-day fast, juice fast, for the majority of people. We have to address each person's need accordingly. Some people only do 1. Some people can even do 3. But what happens is that most people who are very slim say, I don't want to do this. I'll lose more weight. I don't want to lose the weight. And we assure them that the body simply balances out. And it's really interesting. On God's plan, those who need to lose weight, lose weight. Those who need to put on weight, put on weight. And it makes no sense. But God said, trust me. Just trust me. And when we trust him and we just do what he asks, we reap wonderful dividends. And it's really very interesting. Exercise aids digestion and promotes intestinal activity, reducing gas and constipation. Exercise, or a lack of exercise and fresh air, retards digestion, which can result in a buildup of toxins in the body. It quickens circulation, which is very essential. When you eat, all the blood flows to this area of the body, and we want to equalize the blood around the body, so walking is fantastic. So we need to get up and go, you know, and it's not just something you do once and then, right, I've done my bit for the rest of the year. No, it has to be consistent, and you have to enjoy it, and it has to become a lifestyle. How do you start? Just little things, like going for a walk after you eat. It's a good start. Just go as far as you can. Sometimes it might be just at the end of the garden and back. That's a wonderful start. You do it according to what you're able. Sometimes around the block. Some people want to walk 1, 2, 3 miles. Okay. But remember that if you're going to walk out, when you walk after you eat, it's nothing rigorous because you've just eaten. So it's just a nice walk. It's a digestive walk. So it's leisurely, it's nice. If you have more time, or when you do have more time, you can do the more rigorous exercise as well, which is important. Okay, so what kind of activity is best? Walking is the ideal exercise. Why? Because it works every single area of the body. Okay? Other good activities include swimming, cycling, and gardening. One of the special benefits of exercising outside is that you can combine at least 3 of the health principles: sunlight, fresh air, and exercise all at once. And it's really, really a blessing. So start slowly and progress gradually, especially if you have some health challenges. It is better to exercise before a meal rather than right after a meal, unless it's just a digestive walk. Allow time to warm up and cool down. Discontinue exercise and see your physician should you have any of the following symptoms: pain in the chest, teeth, jaw, neck, arms, bones, or joints, difficulty in breathing, lightheadedness or fainting, irregular heart rate during exercise or recovery period, excess fatigue. Okay, these are all signs that something it's either that your body is just trying to break into something that it's not used to, or there may be other health concerns that you need to consider. recurrent nausea or vomiting occurring after exercise. Look out for that as well. And look into that if that is a problem. Okay, so we're going to move swiftly on to water. Water is so important, and I keep going on about it, and everybody's like, why do you keep going on about water? Well, because it seems like a really, really trivial thing. But since we're over 75% water, and since the majority of us don't drink enough, and since the majority of us have issues with heart, blood pressure and circulation issues and diabetes and all of that, it is crucial that we drink water, because all of that helps. All of that is helped by water drinking. And especially if we live in this toxic world of ours, as well as putting in toxic things, we need water to cleanse it away. Otherwise, our kidneys, I've been asked today for a kidney and gallbladder cleanse, because somebody reckons that they have stones. Yeah, these stones are there because of what we eat, but because there's no hydration. So the kidneys are not able to do their work effectively. They need water to be able to filter their blood. So a clean body and surroundings are indispensable for physical and mental health. It is so important. So water regulates our body temperature, moistens the eyes, necessary for digestive juices, elimination of toxins, lubrication of muscles, bones, and tendons, relieves mental and physical fatigue. Our body recycles water. We learned the other day that if our bodies did not recycle water, we would have to drink 800 glasses. We are struggling with 8. Can you imagine? God is amazing in how he made these bodies to be able to recycle the water. Water is an all-purpose cleanser, both inside and out. We use water a lot. We do lots of water treatments. We do hydrotherapy in terms of fever baths. We do steam saunas. We do hot and cold alternating showers and foot baths. And we do fermentations and so on. So we use water a lot. And it's amazing how you see the effects of just pure water on the internal organs of a person, and it shows on the outside. It's abundant and effective agent for washing away dirt, germs, and bacteria. All the functions of the body depend on water. And like this camel, when we don't drink water, or sufficient water, we start to get very dehydrated. And all the other bodily functions start to starve. When we went to Ghana, we went to visit, I think, a relative of ours, and the gentleman had just come back from hospital. I was like, what happened? And she said, don't mind him. He had dehydration. I'm like, how can you live in this heat and not drink? But a lot of us don't drink. We don't think we need it. And we wait till we're thirsty, by which time we're already dehydrated. So it's really, really important. He was in hospital for days because of dehydration. A lack of water dehydrates the fluids, tissues, and cells of the body. It causes the blood to thicken, high blood pressure, increasing the risks of stroke and heart disease. It is so important. I went to visit my father, who is slightly estranged from a family, and he had recently had a stroke. And we went to see him. And I was talking to him about how to take care of himself. I'd taken for him some cayenne pepper, some turmeric, taken him some vitamins and minerals for heart health. And we spoke, and he was pleased. And when we got there, I said, oh, can I take your blood pressure? Took his blood pressure. It was sky high. I said, okay, Daddy, this is not good. You just had a stroke. The blood pressure is linked to the stroke. Oh, but I've taken my medication. Okay, but the blood pressure is still high, so the medication is not working, or you need to do something more. And he had a bottle of water on the table that was still full. So I said, could you do me a huge favor? And he says, what? And he was just like, oh, what's she going to say now? I'm like, can you drink half of this? It was like a 1-liter bottle. So can you drink half of this by the time we are prepared to say goodbye? He's like, I can't drink water till it's freezing cold. I said, that's no good. Right now, you need to conserve your energy. You don't need your body working overtime. Why did I say that? What happens when we drink cold water? I'm not talking about room temperature water or water that's even slightly chilled in the fridge, but one that has to be like extra chilled before we drink it. What is wrong with that? Sorry? It chills the system, absolutely. You feel it. You feel it going down. You feel the effect it has on your body. And then what happens? It's not going to be absorbed yet. So the body is a system. It's a very precise system. That water will not be absorbed until the body has heated it up to 37 degrees Celsius, because that's how it functions. And nothing we do is going to alter it, because that's how God made us, fearfully and wonderfully. The water will be heated to 37 degrees Celsius, then absorption takes place. So you're exerting unnecessary energy heating up this water when you could have just had room temperature. The body would have been able to use it readily or a lot quicker. So I explained that. He wasn't impressed. But I said, could you just do this? Just for the sake of this exercise, I just want to show you something. So he did. And by the time we were ready to leave, I took his blood pressure again. It was, I forget, what was it, girls? About 170-something over maybe 95 or 96. Maybe an hour and a half later, all he did was drink water because he was slightly compromised by the stroke. All he did was sit down, drink water, and talk to us. And it had come down to 125 over 85. That's all he did was drink water. And he saw that and he was shocked. And he goes, right, from now on. I said, okay, Daddy, don't get excited. It has to become a lifestyle. Don't just, there's this amazing feeling and then you're like, yes, I'm going to do this. I said, don't make any, just day by day, just drink water throughout the day. It is so important. Insufficient water causes hypoglycemia as well, causes fatigue, it causes brain fog, causes tiredness, and even fainting spells. Water, again, the cartilage cells are immersed in water, which lubricates your joints. Without it, we have problems with joint pain. If the kidneys did not recycle your water, you would have to drink 800 glasses each day. So let's be grateful for the 8 that we're supposed to drink, and ask God to help us to drink it. The body loses about 10 to 12 cups of water every day. The food we eat provides 2 to 4 cups of water, as long as we're eating lots of fruits and vegetables. So we need to drink 6 to 8 glasses each day to make up the differences. By the way, tea, coffee, cola, any carbonated beverage, it's not water. We discovered yesterday when we were doing acid-alkaline that water is the only thing on the pH scale that is neutral. Everything else is either alkaline or acidic. So you are drinking liquid, but if it's not water, it's not going to do the job that water does. When the car says you're supposed to put in diesel, you don't decide to put in orange juice. The manufacturer of this body says it needs water. But we take better care of our cars than we do of these amazing machines. So we need to really reconsider our priorities. In one study, men who drank 5 or more glasses of water daily had a 54% less risk of heart attack than those who drank 2 or less daily or who used other beverages. Okay. And then also, pure plain water is the best way to replace the fluid you need. Many sugar-laden beverages actually result in dehydration, and the body requires more water to metabolize the sugar in that drink. So they're not actually hydrating you at all. Caffeine and alcohol are both diuretics, which cause the body to lose water. So you need an extra glass of water for every high-sugar, caffeinated, or alcoholic beverage you drink. Yes. I'm sorry? Coconut water is coconut water. It's fantastic, but it's not neutral. It's good for the body. Coconut water is very nutritious. It's something you can really have when you have imbalance of minerals in your body. Especially if somebody's just had diarrhea or vomiting or they just haven't been well. Coconut water is a good way to equalize the body salts. That and grape juice with a sprinkle of salt. Very good. It gives strength back very, very quickly. So coconut water is good. You can even give coconut water to babies. Should the mother not be able to breastfeed, coconut water is fantastic to give to even babies. Yeah. So it's a good thing. It's just not water. Yeah? Does that answer your question? All right. So mood swings as well. Mood swings. Cause and effect. So lack of water does a great deal. Coffee and most soda pop contain a whopping amount of caffeine geared to dehydrate you. It can raise the blood pressure, blood sugar, and blood fats. It stimulates the nervous system and can cause irritability, anxiety, tremors, chronic fatigue, and insomnia. After time, the pick-me-up is only preventing a major letdown. That's why you have to keep having another one, and another one, another one. It's an addictive behavior. Eventually, you hit rock bottom, or sometimes you don't, but it hits you. So our bodies are about 70% water, over 70%. Your brain is made up of about 85% of that. That's why you get a headache. Your migraines might not be due to nothing other than dehydration, because the body will take it from anywhere it can to try and balance you out. So it will take water from the brain, in which case you get a headache. In which case, the first thing to do is not to reach for the paracetamol, the Nurofen, or anything else but water. And then consider, are you stressed? Consider, what have you eaten? Consider, are you toxic? That's another thing that can cause serious headaches, especially if you drink sufficient water and you're not particularly stressed. Heartburn, again, lack of hydration can cause heartburn. Yeah? Drink some water every half hour. This will give you a regular stress break, and it will also wash the acid out of your esophagus and dilute it so that it doesn't come back on you after you eat. It's really, really important. And forget the Gaviscon. They've already talked about how it destroys the kidneys and causes some other terrible side effects. My sister was forever downing Gaviscon till she heard. I told her, but of course it's not enough. She has to hear it on the news. And then she was like, oh, yeah, I saw. I said, oh, okay, that's nice. That's nice. But that's okay. Sometimes we learn different ways. The human body consists of 60,000 miles of blood vessels. This will circle the equator 2.5 times. Amazing. The red blood cells travel through the blood vessels at the speed of 43.5 miles an hour. Wow. The red blood cells, they travel through the blood vessels at a rate of 43.5 miles per hour. Amazing, isn't it? They will travel slower depending on what you've eaten, depending on whether or not you drink. So it's, but at its optimum, that's how it works. If we don't drink enough water, the body will take it from the following areas. The blood, and that's why it becomes thick. Then the heart has to raise its pressure to push it, yeah? Because now it's become a thick sludge in the bloodstream. The bones, you get dry bones, you get brittle bones, you get aches and pains. The liver is there to again, help with our elimination. It burns fat. And a lot of people, when we do the QBI scan, discover they've got fatty liver. They're like, how come I've got fatty liver? I'm not fat. You don't have to be overweight to have fatty liver. And that's why it's important to realize that sometimes some of us may not look like we're overweight, but we're unhealthy. That's why it's not wise to look at, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. Look at, I need to gain health, I need to gain health. Because it's really important to get those priorities straight. because not everybody who is supposedly slim is supposedly healthy. It's really important. The skin, it will take you from the skin. Some people say, I have dry skin, and it's almost like, well, that's just me. But if you drink more water, you'll see that your skin will be better hydrated, because the body will take it from the skin if it needs to, the colon. And what usually happens when it takes it from the colon? We become constipated. Yeah, become constipated, and then the toxins don't exit. The brain, as I've mentioned, headaches. Signs of dehydration: headaches, constipation, fatigue, dry skin, and so on. Okay, I'm going to move a little faster because my time is very short. The blood is normally about 92% water when the body is fully hydrated. When dehydrated, the blood becomes thicker, causing resistance to blood flow and resulting in elevated blood pressure. Again, water is the most vital source of energy in the body. Dehydration causes the enzymatic activity in the body to slow down, resulting in tiredness and fatigue. Digestive disorders too. A shortage of water and alkaline minerals such as calcium and magnesium can lead to a number of digestive disorders, including ulcers, gastritis, and acid reflux. If anybody needs information on these things, we'll be more than willing to supply, because it sounds like it's a big deal, and it can be, especially if you've been suffering for a long time. But the answers is amazing, and are amazing, and the results can come about very quickly. Asthma and allergies. When dehydrated, your body will restrict airways as a means to conserve water. In fact, the rate of histamine produced by the body increases as the body loses more and more water. So, your nose is blocked, your eyes are running, and you just want the antihistamine to put an end to all of this. Drink some more water, and it will naturally lubricate and help the body to reduce its histamine response. You won't have to burden it some more with some more stuff. Histamine is something that the body produces when it feels it's under attack. So it's a good thing, because under attack, the body needs to react, whether to fungi, to bacteria, to virus, or to one more enemy of the body. Fungi, bacteria, virus, and parasites. But when pollen goes into the system, the immune system misreads that pollen is not a foe, it's not something harmful, and it overreacts and it releases histamine to get rid of it. So that's why you get it through the channels of elimination. Sometimes the ears, you itch your ears, your throat, your nose, so all these areas to get rid of it. You cough, it goes into the lungs. The body's like, no, we need to get rid of this. But there's nothing wrong. You're overreacting, body. So what do? We need to feed the immune system, build it up. We had a wonderful remedy this afternoon called the flu shot, which we learned is good for flu, so you don't have to get the flu jab. And also it's just good for building up the immune system so it can deal with allergies and so on. You have allergic triggers like dust, like pollen, like certain smells and so on. But those are triggers. They don't cause your reaction. Your immune system creates the histamine. And then you go and get what? Antihistamine, because you want to suppress it. But it will always be there. It will just be suppressed. So the protocol is, okay, let's deal with this so that when the trigger comes, it won't react anymore. There are things that build the immune system very, very well, especially in terms of allergies. Water, obviously, is one. In fact, God's plan is it. But if you want extra, you have quercetin, which is fantastic for any bronchial problems. You have zinc, you have vitamin C, you have, you can make a concoction of cayenne, ginger, and turmeric. These are all anti-inflammatories, and that's really, really good. So there's a list of things that can be done. You can get nettle. When it was in season, you collect it, you wash it, you boil it, you drink it. You have it with local honey. It's fantastic. Yes, the nettle is a natural antihistamine. So, and it builds up your body, and it has iron in it too, so it helps your blood. So whenever Levi got a flare-up, he sometimes has a reaction. And I always know when his immune system is down because he'll get a reaction. And when his eyes go like that, I'm like, oh no. So we need to build him up. But the idea is that start building him up from spring. So when the summer comes, he can enjoy it instead of snuffling and coughing. And so what I do is I boil the nettle. That's one of the things I do. I give him some to drink, and then I get cotton wool and I dab it in the tea, and I apply it to his eyes. And within minutes, the eyes just shrink back. So all the swelling just goes back. Within minutes, his wheezing chest calms down, and he's off again. So it really is a blessing, and it was free. We collected a lot of it this summer. And then we dried it in the sun. Yes, we had some sun. So we dried it, and so we've got some for when we use it for our guests. Yeah? Okay, so when the body is dehydrated, it will also produce more cholesterol to prevent water loss from the cells. So do you see this amazing body of ours? Bladder or kidney problems. With a dehydrated body, the accumulation of toxins and acid waste creates an environment where bacteria thrive, resulting in the bladder and kidney to be more prone to infection, inflammation, and pain. Yeah? And we have constipation as well. Okay? Do you answer the call? Do you answer the call? Do you hear a call? Now, sometimes we hear calls, but we don't want to answer it because I'm not in my own house, because I'm out and about. And we squeeze ourselves around town until we don't feel for it anymore. Where do you think it goes? What happens to it? Seriously. It goes back. It goes back. And those blood vessels in the colon picks up all that toxicity and feeds it back up. Wow. Why? Just go to Debenhams. Go to McDonald's. Go anywhere where they have somewhere where you can just do what you need to do. Don't hold it. It's not just children. We are so terrible at doing it. So it's like, oh boy, I've been holding on to this all day. And you sit down and you wait. You're like, I felt like going 2 hours ago. What happened? And sometimes you see what happens when you do colonic irrigation. And you're there for hours. You're there for hours. And things are, and they're like, but where does it go? Where does it go? It is so important for us to be kind to ourselves. Okay, we've talked about this, bowel movement for each meal the following day. Okay, again, we talked about joint stiffness and pain with lack of water. Again, weight gain. Sometimes when we're actually thirsty, we think we're hungry, so we eat. So you test it out. Whenever you've had food 2 hours ago, you shouldn't be hungry. If you've had a complete food of half your plate being steamed vegetables and raw vegetables, a quarter of your plate being carbohydrates, and a quarter being protein with some element of good fats. That's a full meal. Yeah? And then 2 hours later, you're hungry. It's either they were all empty calories, and they can't be if half of it was full of vegetation. But maybe the other parts were empty calories, or you're simply thirsty. Because the two signals are the same. So when you've had that for 2 hours, and you know you're supposed to, the stomach digests food, or rather that the food is digested within 4 to 5 hours, I shouldn't be hungry. I must be thirsty. Drink first and see what your body says thereafter. Premature aging as well as the skin is dehydrated. The Bible says, why do you spend money for what does not satisfy? Everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And Jesus is the water of life. And he's bid us to come. The only drink that truly quenches the thirst is water. That's why we drink so little. We drink so much of other things. But we find that only water satisfies. So how much water do I drink, you ask? Well, here are 2 ways to calculate how much water you need. Yeah? Should I move on? Have you got that down? It's your body weight in pounds divided by 16. Or your body weight in kilograms divided by 7. All right? And you should have it in ounces or mils. Okay, you will need more water if you're exercising, if it's extra hot like it has been, if you haven't been too well, maybe you're having fevers and temperatures, pregnancy, breastfeeding, need more water. Okay. Drinking water with meals dilutes the gastric juices and slows down digestive process. The best time to drink water is between meals, beginning an hour after eating until 30 minutes before your next meal. So please don't eat and drink at the same time, because again, that hinders digestion. Because every time you drink, digestion stops, water is heated up, then it's absorbed, then digestion continues. So you have these stop, start, then acid reflux, then bloating, then gas, and you think, what happened? It can be as simple as that. People who drank 2 8-ounce glasses of water 20 to 30 minutes before meals ate an average of 75 fewer calories at that meal. So again, it's good for weight loss. In another study, 2 8-ounce glasses of water before meals resulted in a 44% greater weight loss over 12 weeks than in a non-water control group. This is just looking at water. This is not even looking at food or exercise. Amazing. And then I've mentioned several times about how we use water. A cold or cool bath is an excellent tonic. Warm baths open the pores and aids in the elimination of toxins. Warm and neutral baths soothe the nerves and equalize the circulation. If you have a really ratty baby, give them a warm bath and they will be soothed. Again, if you just like hot showers, for a short period of time, it's not a bad thing. It opens the pores and it aids circulation. For a long time, it depresses the bodily functions and it actually creates toxins. That's why if you're going to have a hot bath or hot shower, finish with cold. Finish with cold. The body then helps to close those pores and things start to pick up again. Because hot for a long time depresses. Yeah? So you want some balance. Enjoy hot and cold contrast showers. This stimulates the immune system. When you feel a cold coming on, do a hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. You scream out the house if you have to, but afterwards you feel like, oh, that was nice. And you feel, invigorated. And it does actually create more white blood cells And you find that the cold doesn't come on as strong, or it doesn't come at all. Okay. Again, the kidneys have to work much, much harder if we don't drink water. So when you are thirsty, you are already dehydrated. So all these bodily functions need water: brain, heart, lungs, bone, kidneys, liver, skin. And without enough water, they lose out. I'm going to have to go super fast. Sunlight. What is sunlight good for? Vitamin D is crucial. And the darker you are, the more you need. It is such a vital, it's not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone. It is so vital. The lack thereof can be catastrophic. It is responsible for over 400 different metabolisms in the body. So a lack of it is a big problem. It increases immunity. Therefore, if you are of dark skin and you're not getting enough, your immunity is naturally going to be low. And in general, the population of the United Kingdom were all deficient in vitamin D, whether dark-skinned, light, or anything in between. And in fact, Scotland, especially northern Scotland, there's a high rate of multiple sclerosis. And they have pinned that down to a lack of vitamin D and lack of B12 or B vitamins in general. It's really, really important. Immunity is increased by exposure to sunlight, and your body's resistance to infection is strengthened as antibodies are increased too. What else do we get from sunlight? It strengthens the bones. Okay, vitamin D strengthens the bone, and it lowers the blood cholesterol, helping prevent many types of cancer, aiding in calcium absorption. Without vitamin D, you can have all the calcium you want, it will not be absorbed. They work together. So then some people also suffering from bone issues like brittle bones, osteoporosis, even arthritis. Look at your vitamin D level. Get checked if you have to. And the majority of people who get checked discover they are deficient. And sometimes it's so low they have to get intravenous vitamin D. That is very serious. Sunlight promotes sense of well-being. It gives endorphins, which are feel-good hormones. It also boosts your melatonin and helps improve sleep. For most people, sunlight is an important therapy all by itself. And then if you combine it with all the others, it's very, very good for you. Other benefits of sunlight, it helps with pain, it helps with swollen arthritic joints, and even relieves some symptoms of premenstrual syndrome. It also helps ward off heart disease, hypertension, autoimmune diseases like Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis, juvenile diabetes, MS, as well as obesity. Okay, so sunlight is important. We've been having plenty. We're so grateful. Vitamin D for calcium assimilation, increase of oxygen in the blood, helps to lower cholesterol, and also stores vitamin D ready for over a week. Start with 10 to 15 minutes exposure to the face and hands daily for up to 30 to 45 minutes. Obviously, that's if you want to specifically sunbathe. But if you're just living, just spend some time outdoors. Make sure you're smart about it. Maybe you don't sunbathe or spend too much time outside when it's at the hottest part of the day, especially without water. Okay, temperance. Temperance. What is temperance? It's self-control. Self-control. Okay. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Wonderful. And Proverbs 25:28 puts it like this: He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. You're forever attacked. Everything I say to you will seem like a rebuke. You'll be oversensitive at everything, and you'll be always miserable because something is always going to disturb you. Willpower. God wants this area of our brain, the frontal lobes, because it decides, it is the central part of choice and morality. This is the part that God communicates through. And if we can surrender this part of our minds to Him, wow, He has promised to do exceedingly abundantly. The word temperance, when used in the context of health, has two very distinct meanings. Moderation in the use of that which is good, total abstinence from that which is harmful. That's not what the general consensus is. Alcohol, oh yes, it's bad for you, but just drink it moderately. And then next week, oh, little bit of alcohol leads to cancer. Okay, so which one is true? Listen to God. He says alcohol is not good for you. Just don't even look at it. Because, and when He says it, it's thus. It doesn't change because He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Not even when it is in kick. No, it does not evaporate. Self-control. More is not always better. Work, exercise, rest, eating, sunshine are all beneficial and necessary. But any of them taken to extremes become harmful. So it's not just about food, it's anything done to extremes. Effects of tea and coffee. So this is talking about self-control. Why? Caffeine is the most widely used brain stimulant in the world. But what is it? What is caffeine? Why do we always go on and on about it? Well, caffeine is an odorless white powder that is bitter in taste. What does that look like? The picture. Looks like some kind of hard drug, doesn't it? But caffeine is a hard drug. It's just that is treated softly because we like it. Yeah? But it does something very similar. It manipulates the mind. This stimulant is found naturally in over 60 plant species, including coffee bean, tea leaf, cola nut, and cocoa bean. So its presence in our cups of tea and coffee and bars of chocolate is unsurprising. But what is the problem? Caffeine is similar to a chemical in your brain called adenosine. Okay? So if you look at the chemical makeup and look at the chemical makeup of adenosine, and you turn caffeine, it looks very similar. So the body gets confused. So coffee works by competing with adenosine, a chemical produced by the brain. Yeah? I'll be quick. So there you have, normally adenosine binds to receptors to slow down nerve cell activity. But caffeine, because it's so similar, takes its place and prevents it from calming things down. So you're really hyper and you don't want to go to sleep because you've got to finish a report. And this coffee is great because now I've got so much energy. That's because your nerve cells are going mad with this drug. And then all too soon you feel, and then you need another one because you need to keep up the hype. But all this time, this is known as an excitotoxin. It excites the brain, but it's toxic to it. It's overworking it for no good reason. As the result, the activity of these nerve cells increases. This affects several parts of the body, including the central nervous system, the kidneys, the muscles, and the cardiovascular system. Caffeine starts working as soon as 15 minutes after consumption, but it takes about 6 hours for half of the coffee to be eliminated from the body. So you're thinking, oh, it's just a cup of coffee. Okay, all right, but it's doing more damage than you think. It increases heart rate, constricts blood flow, has a diuretic effect, relaxes air passages, encourages the production of adrenaline because of increased nerve cell activity, contracts muscles, suppresses appetite, depletes calcium. It steals calcium from you. reduces bone density, and it also steals iron. It stops iron from being absorbed. So it also dehydrates. So consider it as, you go forward. Caffeine blocks the functions of your brain. It overworks it and leaves you quite debilitated. Some people get palpitations, but you will never link it to the coffee. Okay. The equivalent of 80 to 100 cups of coffee can kill you. And I was doing a presentation for a former guest, and they were like, yeah, I believe that. My uncle died because of that. I was like, really? You actually know someone? Because, yeah, my uncle. He was so addicted to coffee, it basically killed him. I was like, wow. Because you get the statistics and you share it with others, but you don't expect someone to say, oh, I know someone who that happened to. And it was his uncle. Amazing. We know Yes. No, 80 to 100. Yeah, 80 to 100 cups of coffee. You're thinking, that's not going to happen. Who's going to do that? But it's a drip, 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 drip effect. Yeah, it's a drip, drip effect. A bit like they say, even paracetamol, as seemingly harmless as it appears to be, if you're taking it in drip, drip, drip fashion, can cause kidney failure and can be very detrimental. So anything can do that. Obviously, alcohol, we know the negative side effects of alcohol. It's a terrible thing, binge drinking, especially football season. England is still in the World Cup, and we think it's necessary to drink ourselves into a stupor because of that. Well, it destroys a lot of homes, a lot of lives, and increases risk of stroke, heart failure, stomach ulcers, cancer, and high blood pressure as well. Okay? And no, a couple of glasses is still no good, because either way, it does exactly the same thing, whether you have one or whether you have 10. Okay? And lives are ruined. Again, drugs, and this is recreational drugs, but we also have prescription drugs. There are more women addicted to prescription drugs than they are to recreational drugs. And more women have a side effect of their prescription drugs than they do of their recreational drugs. That is hardly ever talked about, but it is true. The need for the drug becomes so strong that users will resort to dangerous and illegal activities to obtain another high. Smoking also, we know, one of the most addictive of all substances used by humans. It kills about 1,200 Americans every day. Smoking is the single most preventable cause of death in America. Now, I was supposed to look at that for the UK, but it's a big deal. You walk outside any hospital, and you can go to a person and say, oh, what's wrong? I have lung cancer. And you're smoking? Yes. And you're allowed? Of course he is. He is his own person. He chooses. But I'm sure that if sometimes people are educated to understand their bodies, that they'll make better choices. Better choices. Right outside. And the butts are everywhere. And nobody. Sheds. Amazing. Amazing. IV being pushed around. And the other hand, it's like, why? But then it's a whole ethos, because you just had someone come out of surgery and, hello, love, here's the McDonald's. It's like, what? Do you know what McDonald's does? But the nurses are like, oh, yes, here you go, Mr. Jones. Eat your McDonald's. What? And then you bring in your carrot juice. Oh, Mrs. Brown, you really should not be doing that anymore. It's like, why? Your husband is in a very precarious predicament. You shouldn't be bringing him carrot juice. oh, but I should bring him KFC? It makes no sense. Tea, coffee, I'm like, why don't you just offer people water or mint tea or chamomile or something? That's not what people want. But they're in hospital for a reason. But we don't trace cause to effect. Give people what they want so that they can be happy. But it rarely makes us happy. Smoking costs NHS £5 billion. And then we cry, we don't have money. We're going about it all the wrong way. But when people start to give up, they start to heal very, very quickly. So we have to know when to say no. And that's in overworking, if work is your thing, whatever it could be, we have to be temperate in all things. Bible says, the man who striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. And there's a quote that says that if we can overcome appetite, that's appetite of anything, we will have the ability to control every other thing. Yeah? So it's a very big deal. Now, it is just going past 8:30. Do I have your permission to continue, or would you prefer that I stop here? Continue. Pardon? She needs water. Or maybe we need to stand up a moment. Would you mind to do that? Let's stand up a minute. If you have water, please drink. Deep breathing exercises. I showed this to a gentleman earlier on who had asthma and some bronchial problems. And we started doing it. It was just like for 2 minutes. And in that short space of time, he was like, oh, wow, I can breathe better. I'm like, okay, I didn't expect it to work that quickly. But every morning, after their cleansing juices, we go outside and we do some light stretching and deep breathing. Now, our brother Lee does the light stretching in the afternoons. But right now, we're going to do some deep breathing. And the idea is that you breathe from your diaphragm. Most of us breathe from our chest, which means that we're not inhaling sufficient oxygen or exhaling sufficient carbon dioxide. So the idea is when you breathe in, just like a balloon, your stomach should go out. It should inflate. Yeah? And this is how babies breathe naturally. So somewhere along the line, we lose the art of breathing. I don't know how or why. So if you take deep breath in, your shoulders should not be moving, and out through the mouth. And breathe in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And it's best to do this outside. This is the next one. You breathe in the same way as you have done. This time when you breathe out hard and long and you breathe out from your diaphragm. So you breathe in, hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, out. If you breathe out really hard, most people start coughing or things start coming up. And imagine doing this in the open air. One more time, breathe in. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. Excellent. And if you keep doing that, it's really, really good. And then usually we lift up our arms, breathe in, and out, and in, and out, and the other side, and in, and out. One more time, in, and out. And that is perfect timing because we're talking about air. A human being can survive several days without food, a few days without water, but only a few short minutes without air. Okay? Now, if you breathe properly, your body will be well oxygenated because it is so important. This element is essential to sustain life. And most of us have lost the art of breathing, and it's hurting us. Most people diagnosed with cancer at some point, especially if they know that there are things that can help them, will go for ozone therapy. This is basically how to breathe and breathing pure, clean air. And areas with the purest, cleanest air, usually places with trees, places where there's some kind of body of water, whether the sea, a river, even a reservoir is good. And I was sharing the other day as well that after rain, you have your purest air, especially in the city. Purest air, loads of negative ions. So go out then and breathe that really electrically charged air. It's fantastic. Fresh country air soothes the nerves, stimulates the appetite, and induces sound, refreshing sleep. Poor ventilation of rooms can result in headaches, drowsiness, and difficulty in concentration. Especially at night, most of us sleep with our windows closed. Is that right? It's only because it's been like 30 degrees. Do you always sleep with your windows open? Impressive. Pardon? Not fully. That's true. That's very true. That's a bit impractical. But you open it a crack, maybe just the top window. Okay, that's good. That's good. Bad air and poor breathing habits promote depression, irritability, exhaustion, and chronic fatigue. It's amazing what happens when someone learns to breathe properly. And some people look at you, we're going to learn how to breathe, and they look at you like, love, I'm 50 years old. How is it that I don't know how to breathe? I'm living. And then we start, okay, so when you breathe, this is, and they're like, how does that work? It doesn't work for me. Somewhere along the way, we lose the art of breathing. And it becomes really, really mental. You have to really think about it. Thinking, okay, breathe in. Okay, tummy goes out. Breathe out, tummy goes flat. And then you get it all confused. But it takes practice. But a lack of oxygen first affects the highest center of the brain. Cancer cells die in a high oxygen environment. That's why it's important that we learn to breathe well. When exercising, up to 26 gallons of air is moved in and out of your lungs per minute, but only about 1 at rest. So see the importance of exercise. It increases circulation of oxygen around the body and increases your energy levels too. So we need to learn to breathe well. Open our windows. Take a fresh air break several times a day, especially if you're in ill-ventilated areas, especially at work. Sit up straight and walk tall. This allows the lungs to enlarge and work at full capacity. Wear loose, comfortable clothing. This allows lungs freedom to inflate. Sometimes some things are so tight, you can't breathe, but it looks cute. Well, it's damaging your health. Think about it. Exercise in fresh air. This will strengthen your breathing muscles and increase your lung capacity. If gyms were outside, they'll be brilliant. Now you have some outdoor gyms, right? Especially when the weather is good. That's really, really good. Grow house plants. They absorb carbon dioxide from the air and produce oxygen for us to breathe. Some remove toxic pollutants from the air. For example, aloe vera. They are really good plants to have in your home. Don't have too many plants. Not all plants are equal. Some actually, they all produce some amount of carbon dioxide at some points, but there are others. There's some that produce more than others. Aloe vera is a very good one for the home. Okay, so this is a story. I'm not sure if we're going to tell it. Do you mind if I skip the story? Oh, you're reading it. So during the 1919 flu epidemic, the hospital in Eureka, California was overflowing with patients. The head doctor called the army, which gave them tents, cots, and blankets. The overflow patients were moved into the tents in which there was no heat except hot water bottles that kept their feet warm. It was found that no patients in the tents with fresh air were dying, but in the other area, quite a few people were. So they discovered this, and then they took away the heat from everybody and opened the windows, and their death rates started to go down. So it's really, really important. Okay, rest. Today, as never before, the pressure is on. Pressure to get everything done real quick, to get the top spot. Even pressure to be first in the traffic. I mean, what's that about? You're minding your own business, someone goes, and you're like, brother, we're not going anywhere. There's a traffic light. It's red. But there's this urgency about everything, and there is no rest. There is no rest. A vital part of a beautiful lifestyle is getting the right quantity and quality of sleep. This is when the body grows, repairs damage, and restores energy, preparing itself for another day of activity. So I shared with my sister the other day that I'm struggling with sleep. I'm like, that's not like me. What's going on? She's like, oh, new bed. Maybe you want your own bed. And I'm like, no, but I'm used to this by now. And so on. I'm like, maybe I have too many things in my mind. So I've been writing it out, but I still can't sleep. Then it hit me. Guess what my problem is? Somebody please guess. Pardon? No, I mean, by the time I get home, we get ourselves sorted. I could be sleeping, I could be in my bed by 10:30. What could it be? Fresh air. I think the air is troubling me. What else? There's another thing that I think is crucial for me. More exercise. I'm not getting as much. That's what I'm so looking forward to tomorrow. Walking those hills is so different. And you don't realize it, because you go for a walk maybe around the block and you think, should we go again? Because it doesn't feel like you've done anything. It's because I'm used to a harder terrain, because we have to walk up the hill to get to the house. So if you're going for a walk, you either walk up or you walk down and then you come up. So I don't think I'm working enough. So that's one of my problems. But we learned that exercise is really good for sleep. So I'm figuring out part of my problem. So when I go back, I need to maybe go for a jog or something. Anyway, a vital part of a healthful lifestyle is getting the right quantity and quality of sleep. Losing as little as 3 hours of sleep a night can cut the effectiveness of your immune system in half. Help. Sleeping less than 7 hours each night reduces your life expectancy. Uh-oh. And this is so true if you work nights. Because if you work nights, the other problem is that I know I'm not getting at you because I know the bills have to be paid and you have to pay the rent and all the rest of it. And for mothers with children, it's a good way to balance work and family life. But it is true that going against the circadian rhythm is basically going against the laws of nature. The law of nature says it's dark, it's time to sleep. I say no, it's time to work. The law of nature says, okay, the light is sunny, it's time to arise. I say no, I'm going to my bed. The circadian rhythm is disturbed. It's a law. It's a law. And you could go against it, like all these laws you can ignore it, but they will pay dividends later on. When the body is deprived of sleep, it is unable to rebuild and recharge itself adequately. There are different hours of the night in which different parts of your body are cleansed and renewed. And when you miss those hours, those areas do not get cleansed or renewed. We tell the children, go to sleep. That's when you grow. We're still growing. Our bodies still need repairing, still need building. And so it affects us the same. There is an increase in irritability, while creativity, concentration, and efficiency suffer. Okay, then sleep deprivation impairs judgment, causing values and priorities to change. Continued loss of sleep can result in exhaustion, depression, delusions, paranoia, and hallucinations. This is obviously chronic. If you find that you're not enough when you are, whenever you're not active, or that you need an alarm clock to wake you up all the time, you're deprived of sleep. You're not getting enough. Follow a regular exercise program, preferably in the fresh air and sunshine. This is to help you to feel ready to sleep. Don't eat a heavy evening meal. When the body has to finish the digestion process, after you go to sleep, you won't get the proper quality of rest. It's still digesting. In the morning, you will not be hungry, so breakfast will be delayed, and then the cycle continues. Have a regular sleeping schedule. Go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time. Obviously, that's if you're... Say that again. It's not practical for you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why you're sleeping. So she's right to be sleeping. Studies show that the most efficient sleep hours occurs between 9 and 12 midnight. So if you're going to bed at 12 and you're like, I don't have to be up till 8. I've got my 8 hours. It's not so good because you missed those crucial hours before midnight. Deep sleep. Yes. Yeah, well, we need a balance. There's a process of sleep. So you have light sleep, you get your deep sleep, then you have your light sleep, and then you arise. There's even a pattern to sleep. But if you have different disturbances, if you have different imbalances in life, sometimes you deep sleep for 2 hours, then you're wide awake. Or sometimes you sleep and it doesn't feel like you've slept at all because it's been light the whole time. So there are reasons, different reasons for that. And I would have to talk to the individual to ascertain the cause. But before bedtime, relax your body and mind. Avoid stimulants like radio, television, tobacco, and caffeine. Take a warm bath. Alcohol interferes with the body's ability to rebuild itself while you are sleeping. So check your medications for side effects that interfere with sleep. That's another culprit sometimes for some people. Our bodies require more than just a daily period of sleep. At creation, God also provided a weekly rest, the Sabbath, which we are looking forward to for those who worship on Sabbath. But we all can, because this gives us a whole day without work when the week's cares are set aside for quality time with God, our families, and for helping those who are sick. Sabbath is indispensable for health. However, for most of us, a Sabbath is anything but rest. So then when are we truly resting? On the wrong day. What can make the Sabbath more restful then? Because it's supposed to be a delight. Perhaps you can consider this question. And if you're coming back tomorrow, it'll be really good to because we're approaching Sabbath. What would make Sabbath for you more restful? As soon as I said that, everybody's like, yeah, right. Who told you that? You know? So there's a problem. And it's across the board. It's not just here. It's a lot of places that, we go to. People are like, Sabbath, I rest on a different day. So we're doing something wrong. One complete night of sleep deprivation is as impairing as in simulated driving tests as a legally intoxicating blood alcohol level. So chronic sleep loss may not only increase the severity, but also hasten the onset of age-related diseases like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and memory loss. And these are no longer age-related. They're no longer age-related. Okay, what about sleeping medications then to induce sleep if you cannot get to sleep? During normal sleep, one has alternate periods of light and deep sleep. Dreaming seems to be a natural outlet and takes place during the light sleep or REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Sleep medications often suppress this stage, and on waking you may not feel as refreshed as you should. If continued over time, sleep medications will contribute to chronic fatigue and may lessen mental performance. It leads to other problems. To get a good night's sleep, make sure you have a totally dark room. Don't leave bright lights, computer screens, or TV on. Use a night light if you have to get out of bed for the bathroom. A dim red or blue light is best because it doesn't wake you up. The best sleep inducers are natural means. And again, they're here. They're here. It seems so simple, but it is just as simple. There are other things that can help, like chamomile tea, like catnip tea, like even mint tea. These are really good. Some say valerian, but valerian can be addictive, so you have to be careful. Engage in active exercise daily to best counteract mental and emotional fatigue. Rest. Avoid caffeine during the day. Sometimes it causes insomnia later on. Maintain a regular schedule. An empty stomach helps. So keep your evening meals light. Okay. It is not best to skip breakfast. At breakfast time, the stomach is in a better condition to receive more than for last thing in the day. Make your breakfast correspond more heartily. Should be your heartiest meal of the day. See, sleep deprivation coming through. Don't rehearse the day's problems at bedtime. Count your blessings and fill your mind with gratitude and thanksgiving. If you have things going around, write them out. Write them out, pray over them, and then rest in peace, knowing that God has it in his hand. So how do you find rest in stress? Seek a relationship with God who can bear your anxieties and refresh your spirit. Okay, I think I'll pause here. See lots of tired faces. And trust is really important, but perhaps we can continue, just as we did today with the immune system, we can tag it on somewhere else where possible. Is that okay with you? Any questions? Yes, sir? Okay. It has. It's heavily chlorinated and every other aided, and it's not good for you. So we suggest or we advise that you filter your water. Now, there are different types of filters. You can get charcoal filter, you can get Kangen filter, you can get just a regular Brita filter. So whatever you can afford, please get it. Bottled water is good. Like I was saying, Highland Spring or Buxton, we've noticed they're better ones, and they have good pH. They're natural, and they come from a source that can be traced. The problem is the bottles in which they come in, which sit there for God knows how long. And these bottles leach into the waters. And these bottles also have estrogen mimicking compounds that raises estrogen and leads to estrogenic cancers, not by itself, but it is a factor. So that's the problem that I find with bottled water, is the bottles in which they come. But technically they're good. And the gentleman asked me this afternoon, he said, why does water have a use-by date? And I said, I've never noticed. He's like, well, mine does. I said, okay, if it has use-by date, it's been messed with. Things have been added that shouldn't be added to water. So if yours have calcium, no, water should be water, neutral. You should get your calcium, your magnesium, your phosphorus from your food. So, water should be neutral, and then it's absorbed. So if you have a use-by date or something like that on your bottle, question why. I told him, I don't have one. And he's like, are you sure? And we were searching. We didn't find one on this one. Uh-oh. So he's created a big problem. But I thought it was a really, really good question. So yes, if you have money to get Kangen filter water, they are brilliant, but they're also brilliantly highly priced. But Brita will do. Just drink water. Don't let that stop you from drinking, because you need it. Pardon? Yes, that's another way. You will not get rid of everything, but you get rid of any some of the things. There are certain chemicals that you can't get rid of by boiling, but it's another way, definitely. You boil it, you let it cool, and you drink it. Yes, ma'am?
They did a test in Sheffield City Centre some months ago, and they found that the Sheffield water contained ample difference in these.
Really? I see. That's very, very good to know. All right, in Sheffield. So we don't need the bottled waters. All right. Fantastic. There you go, Sister Val. No more. They have fluoride in it. Say it again. Oh, okay. Where we're staying, apparently our water will be different. Where we're staying in Sheffield. But okay. Sometimes we go places and it's like, we can't drink. The children smell it and they're like, Mommy, there are things in the water. And it's like, okay, especially London. I don't know about Sheffield. I haven't been to Sheffield for very long. Soft water. And that's the water we should be using, soft water. So that's good. So there you go. If you live in Sheffield, it looks like your water is pretty safe. There you go. Brilliant. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, if you have more, please write them down and we'll endeavor to answer them in the coming days. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we're meeting here for our walk, our recreational walk, which is fantastic. We get to test out some of the wonderful things we've been learning.
There was one question I wanted to ask, and it's the benefit of work, physical work.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Have you got anything to say on that?
I have. Are you coming back tomorrow evening? Wonderful. Could you attack me with that question again? Please. I'll be more than happy to even answer it first. Because Sister is missing her bedtime here, and we can't have that. We just can't have that. So thank you so much for your attention. We'll just, if we can please stand up with me and we'll just pray together. Thank you. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for bringing us here together, to learn together, to reason together. And we are so grateful that you care about us enough to give us a plan for our lives. And Lord, as we seek you first, you have promised that all the other things will be added. So help us to seek you first, to submit all to you, that you will direct our paths. Now as we go, we ask that you be with us, that you guide us safely to our various destinations, and that you give us a sound night's sleep and bring us back here tomorrow at 11 to do some wonderful walking and socialize together, and then continue to be with us for the remainder of these meetings. They are such a blessing to us all. I pray, Father, that your will be done in all our lives, and may your name be praised and glorified in all that we do and say. In Jesus' name, be glory and honor forever and ever. Amen. Good night, everyone.